Welcome to the VET S.O.S. Veteran Educational Program Spotlight. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S. Lifeline. VET S.O.S. is brought to you by the Who You Know Network and proud members of the Parade Deck community. As always, I'm here with Dr. Hira. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to learning more about Excelsior because I've seen the name around a lot as a military spouse, but I haven't had the chance to learn a lot about the school. So I'm excited to do that today and also let the community learn along with me.
Absolutely, I'm right there with you. It's one of those like household names, right? But
Yeah.
I just never never looked into it either. So this is going to be fascinating. So today we're sitting down with Patrick Adcock, Director of Military Programs at Excelsior. Born and raised in Maryland, Patrick joined the Army in 2007 as a 31 Bravo military police officer, deployed to RC East Afghanistan. Been there, done that. In 2012 before being medically retired in 2014. His transition into higher education began at Savannah Technical College, where he earned an Associate of Science in Business and developed a passion for supporting service members. Since 2014, Patrick has worked across the technical college, university systems, and certification space, all prior to joining Excelsior University. His career remains dedicated to higher education, military outreach, and helping service members navigate their transition. Fantastic. How are you doing today, Patrick?
Gorgeous Saturday, just waiting for some snow tonight.
You can have it. We're going to hit like 80 today in Florida, so I'm
rub it in.
I do miss my time, my 16 years of living in Savannah, Georgia. So I do miss my, well, I might not miss Fort Stewart so much. I do miss that coastal empire of South Georgia, especially this time of year.
Yeah, I retired out of Fort Stewart, and I don't miss Fort Stewart itself, but definitely love the weather here. And we're already checking the thermometer on the pool to see when we might be able to jump in. So, yeah, we're not even at Valentine's Day. I love it. All right, so let's start with your military transition. Tell us a little bit about how that went.
I always joke that my military transition wasn't normal, but when is a military transition normal? Even if you did 30 years and you transitioned out, when you went in, you're probably 18, 19, 20 years old. You're not the same person going in as you're coming out, but you feel like you are. You always feel like you're that person. So for me, deployed in 2012, lovely DoD, Department of the Army, knew that 2012 was a leap year. They sent us to Afghanistan for 366 instead of 365. We left on January 1st, came back January 2nd, touchdown in Savannah. So very, I call it a good deployment. We had losses, we had activity, we had all the stuff that we had and where we had it. So it was made rough by the length of time and the atmosphere we were in. But I was one of probably a dozen that got medically retired after that deployment. Just a lot of days. I didn't know something was wrong with me until I started feeling my feet. I was driving a patrol car when we got back as a patrol supervisor, and then just went to the doctor, like, hey, I got back pain. I'm 6'3", I'm a big guy. So I'm like, back pain's the part of the game in the military, right? My neck hurts, my arms hurt, my legs hurt. But my legs falling asleep while driving was abnormal. So when he got checked, they're like, oh, let's just do an x-ray. And then 18 months later, I'm signing my paperwork, getting my DD-214, and got my blue ID card. And I kind of was in that, I was 26. So I was like, what do I do now? What's next? So I think I did what every good veteran does. My girlfriend at the time, we had just met when I came home. So we had been together for about a year and a half. Was still in. She was in a whole separate brigade, and we had met when I got back. And I was like, well, I want to see where this is going to go. So now my wife of 10 years, 4 kids later. So I stayed in Hinesville with her, which was, anybody that's been Hines Vegas knows it's there. And I sort of hung around, and because my friends were still there, but they were working, they're still, in uniform, but I wasn't. So I needed something to fill my days. And I was like, I'll do whatever a good veteran does. I'll grow a beard and I'll go back to school and get my GI Bill so I can get that income. Excuse me. And so that's what I did. I wasn't a higher ed person. I did some TA while I was in.
Yeah.
I'm a first generation college student. My parents barely finished high school. They're very much blue collar and workers that have worked government jobs or service jobs. And here I was, what's the next step? And I just knew all I knew was I got money to go to school full time. My retirement took 2 or 3 months to kick in. So I was hurting on bills and everything else. I knew my disability was going to be delayed. I knew, I didn't get the lump sum payout like other people got because I decided to get the Blue ID card to keep the TRICARE for life. That was more important to me. So I did what I had to do. And I said, well, school's probably the easiest route. I was wrong because I didn't know the process. I didn't know getting the COE. I didn't know those kinds of things. And then, but all my friends are still active duty. I had nobody around me that had done this before. So they're still getting up, doing PT, doing shift work. So all my friends are on different schedules. So I'd go fishing at 8 o'clock on a Monday with one friend that's got off because he just worked the whole weekend, or go hunting, or we go out downtown still because I was still around. Anybody's been to Savannah knows it's a great place to enjoy. No drinking outside laws. I mean, it was great. So, but again, I was sort of lost. I had nobody to guide me, I felt like. So I had missed the window to get into the school that I wanted to get into. They left my transcripts sitting on a processing desk for a month and a half that they never touched. So I missed my spring window of getting in, or my fall window, excuse me. I got out in June and July. I tried to get in August, and then they're like, nope. And I was like, great. Try to get in the spring. That sort of fell apart. And then I started in summer. I said, you know what? I'm just going to go to the technical college there in Savannah because they're the ones that got me in the quickest. They got my benefits processed the quickest. And I had the ease of getting in and out of campus very easily. So that's what I did. So 4 semesters in, I found myself having this big 5-hour block in between my day. And I would be the only veteran, so that what I would now call old and crusty, sitting in the military resource center there. And at the time, there was a retired command sergeant major there that said, hey, I need a federal work study. You're here all the time. Do you want to come under contract and work for me? And I was like, I got nothing else to do. Income's income, sure. And that's how I got into military outreach, and then eventually certifying benefits and learned the ins and outs. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was just a good 9-month window of, let's just call it, hard growth.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So tell us about Excelsior. Tell us about the program and what you're doing there.
So just like you guys, I recognized the emblem. I recognized the purple. I recognized. I heard the name a bunch. I saw it at career fairs, transition fairs, but I never attended Excelsior as an alum. I never thought I'd be a college student, let alone working in higher ed, let alone being 4 degrees deep and still trying to finish a doctorate. So it's crazy to me that, because I didn't even start my education journey until 26 when I got out. So here I am, 38, and I think I'm on the good side of bad already, because I always felt like I was behind. I always felt like I was behind my peers. But Excelsior is my 4th higher ed institution. I worked at Savannah Technical College. I worked at Georgia Southern University, which was a great 4 or 5 years, phenomenal 4 or 5 years. That really allowed me to understand the community, to understand benefits, to grow where I'm at now. And then I went to the corporate certificate, the IT and professional certification world for a while, which was the Wild West to me, but great learning experience. And then I knew we were moving last June. My wife, I meet 2 people all from Idaho, and I marry one of them. So we go to Idaho for 2 years. And now we're back in Maryland for my family. I have a very large supportive family. So when moving, I said, let me look for jobs. I was remote, but let me look for jobs. And I saw this opportunity with Excelsior, and I'm like, I do want to get back to the university system, but I can still be fully remote because Excelsior is fully remote, and I might be able to enjoy that world. And I was right. My stress is down. The fun I get to have with students again is there. The events are there. But again, Excelsior is one of those brands where if you know it, you know it and love it because it means quality. Having been in technical college systems, university systems of Georgia, I'm used to catalogs a mile deep, inch thick. They've got every program under the sun. They've got continuing education, whatever. Excelsior, we have maybe 4 or 5 areas of study, and then we have degrees that people want. We have high transfer credits, which is, I think, always in that military space. Everybody says that. We work with that competency-based pathways system. We want to take the information and knowledge and experience you have and turn it into college credit. But my goal here is I'm not a benefits person, and I don't actually get to talk to students as much as I thought I would. But as a partnership person, I get to create a culture and an atmosphere and bring partners on board that are here to help their students, their association members with their education, as well as what we do at Excelsior. So, again, I was baffled that I'm like, what? I've seen this name. I know this brand. I just don't know it. And then I came on board and I wanted to learn. So I started looking up at Excelsior alums. We have retired sergeant majors of the Army. We have generals. We have, these in these spaces that we exist. And I had no clue. So I've seen it. But just seeing our numbers and understanding how big our community is and how big the military presence and veteran presence is at Excelsior kind of baffled me. But that would make sense why they were hiring a partnership department basically under strategic partnerships. So, but yeah, Excelsior is great. It gives me a stress-free environment to do what I want to do and do what I need to do as both as an employee. And then that allows me to focus on my community, which is the community that you all represent as well. And that's the veteran and military space.
I think that when, again, finding the right fit for an institution, people go by names, they do other things, but really looking at programming is so critical. And how you highlighted, it's not that you're going to see the 1,000-page catalog. It's really tailored programs. And just because a school doesn't have a litany of opportunities of what to major in doesn't mean there isn't value in the programming that is there. And it's looking at those schools that have more, hey, we got these 5 programs, but the way we invest in those 5 programs looks very different than what you might see at a big school. It sounds like the partnership piece is critical in terms of not just, hey, while you're here, but what comes after. And so it's wonderful to learn about that. And obviously the competency-based learning system is a wonderful opportunity, as we've seen for many in the military community. It's like, I have experience. How can I apply this so I'm not really starting at zero? It's a big piece. And it's, again, why we're here. We're trying to help people learn about the different opportunities and fits so that they have more information to make an informed decision about, hey, this is what I thought college was, but it's so much more than that. So, we appreciate you sharing it. And again, I think a lot of, us in the community have heard the name, but to understand, hey, this is what they're really doing. That's really wonderful. And we appreciate you sharing. Time is going to fly here as it does. So in like 60 seconds, give me, either the last piece you want to highlight about the Excelsior program, how maybe the military community can connect with y'all, or, what would be that last snippet you want to add about the school?
Yeah, so just generally coming on board, I got to bring in a lot of what I call excitement and motivation and drive, which is doing things at Excelsior that A, have never been done, and 2, see the A and 2, is one of those things that we get to create stuff because they're willing to create stuff for our veterans and our military spouses in our community.
Yeah.
So creating on-ground learning, that's a project we're sorting out right now. Can we open remote learning campuses physically in locations so we can maximize MHA for our military and veterans using those benefits? So we're creating programs with our associations just for military members to really explore and get into that, and discounts for out-of-pocket paying students, because I think a lot of schools forget that not all veterans have GI Bill left.
Yep.
And the big thing is we like to educate the benefit. So even if you don't come to Excelsior and you have a question about your benefits, I want to teach you the VA process, the COE to enrolling day one, how to get the pay, how to certify, how to say you're still in school, all those things, because it's such a curve that it makes it hard not to know those things going in. So we're going to start hosting what we call brown bag sessions, lunch sessions, or evening sessions and forums at VFWs and American Legions. We want to pull people in from communities that maybe not know that your spouse, your dependents, and you can all go back to college basically for free based on some of your ratings or your statuses. So education about your going on education is where I want to live in, because if you don't know, you're never going to use it.
Right. I mean, again, like every big thing, there's systems and knowledge and language and all sorts of things to know about. So I appreciate your holistic approach on making sure, education on education. How do you navigate this? So thank you, Patrick, for joining us on VET S.O.S. today. On behalf of the VET S.O.S. Family, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You can find VET S.O.S. podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and social media. Make sure you subscribe and follow VET S.O.S. so you don't miss a thing. And please remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S. lifeline.